by warmly welcoming the Honourable Member for Bury South to his new place and to the Parliamentary Labour Party. Mr Speaker, like so many people up and down the country, he has concluded that the Prime Minister and the Conservative Party have shown themselves incapable of offering the leadership and government this country deserves, whereas the Labour Party stands ready to provide an alternative government that the country can be proud of. And as for
I don't want to hear what he has to say. Crud of the Week this week, there was several contenders. It would have been tempting, because the issue highlighted last week is not over yet. So it would have been tempting to make Boris Johnson Crud of the Week for a second week in a row. But unfortunately, because it's the same issue, my issue, of course, is just, what do I say? It's just the same thing. We just haven't reached a conclusion yet. Until a conclusion happens, or new information comes out, I can't, for the good of my heart, make Boris Johnson a two-time Crud of the Week. But something did happen in the development of it, which made me decide what to do for Crud of the Week. But there were a few other contenders. Jordan Peterson, I was really tempted to do. He left his post as a college professor on the grounds that, you know what, white students are really hard done by. Yeah, not his week, I'm afraid. I'm sure his week will come. Another good one would have been Joe Rogan, who was kind of owning his own podcast for COVID misinformation, where he kind of lifted the mask and revealed that he's actually not a chameleon of opinions who sort of just goes with the flow and goes with what other people are saying. No, he doesn't always do that. In this case, he moved goalposts like a motherfucker and was promptly embarrassed by his guest. But that's his own punishment. He got punished on his own podcast. He doesn't need me making Crud of the Week. So who is Crud of the Week? Is the question. And the answer is Christian Wakeford. Who is Christian Wakeford? Well, in that clip we just saw there, he is a Conservative MP who was elected as a Conservative, who has crossed the threshold of Parliament and joined the Labour Party. I know what you're thinking. Isn't that a good thing? So someone's left the Tories and joined Labour. Isn't that good? Isn't that a win? Kind of, yeah. But it's not at the same time, because what does it say? It says that these two parties are not really that different anymore. And all Christian Wakeford has done, really, has left a sinking ship. He's a rat leaving a sinking ship. He has gone to the party he thinks will win the next election. He is trying to preserve his status. He's trying to preserve his power. So what I think we need to do is, let's hear from him. Let's see his reasoning for crossing this threshold. What's his reasoning, do we think, for joining the Labour Party from the Conservative Party? Let's hear from him.
Well, it's been an interesting week, I think. I don't know about you, but I think I could do with some more sleep. I'd note, however, moving on to the agenda, we do have a shared agenda and about how we can build a better Bury for all those who need it the most. And it's a great honour, if not a surprise, to be here today. Yesterday, I said that Britain needs a government focused on tackling the cost of living crisis and providing a path out of a global pandemic. That path needs to protect living standards. It needs to defend security for all. That's why I joined the Labour Party.
Right, let's get into it. What's wrong with what he just said? Absolutely nothing's wrong with what we've just said here. The issue is his idea that he is wanting a way out of the rising living cost for the people is very hypocritical, considering he has helped create these problems in the first place. Once again, he was elected as a Conservative MP, and what have Conservatives done? They have utterly destroyed this country. They have done so for a decade. It was not new information that actually they are not for the people. They've somehow convinced certain people to vote against their own interests and back the billionaires, but for some reason. I don't know how they've managed to do it. But either way, it's not news that these people were actively trying to destroy families and working people's lives. He played a role in that. He voted overwhelmingly in favour of Conservative policies. He has always voted against the welfare state, as an example. He's voted against corruption laws. So, for example, laws that might limit what kind of donors you have or who can campaign for you. Laws that Tories have used and abused to ensure they have been backed by these millionaire donors who just don't want to be taxed anymore. And he's voted against laws to stop that happening. So he has played his part in this. So when he says he has suddenly had a crisis of consciousness, I don't believe him. Sorry, Christian. I don't believe you. Your actions don't speak to that reality. What has also come out, though, is he says he was basically being threatened. I had to vote for the Conservative vote, what they told me to vote for, or they'd remove my funding for my constituency. Right, here's why that doesn't fly. Even if true, which actually I believe it probably is true, to be honest, even if true, you still willingly joined that party knowing that would happen. You did. Like, you can't say, I actually thought the Conservatives were all for the people and they were going to make things easier for working people. You can't say that because you knew it's not true. You know it's not true. So why are you now shocked? Why is it now a deal breaker for you that they were doing stuff like that? And also, why did it take you this long? You've been elected since what would it have been? 2019, he elected, something like that. He's been a member of the Conservative Party since then. No new developments have happened since then. Not in terms of like the Tory direction. No, it's always been roughly the same. Get Brexit done, fuck people over, make the rich richer, ensure the rich weren't being taxed properly. This has all been the Conservative agenda for well over 10 years now, and once again, he voted in favour of it the whole way. Why? Maybe he would say that he thought by just playing that game, he would get what he wanted for his area. So well done. You have just admitted then that you willingly sold out the rest of the country for your own benefit. So that's why I don't believe him. What else does he want to say?
Because only Labour are coming up with the solutions. The Conservative Party aren't even talking about the problem, let alone offering solutions. And here on the front bench right now, we have someone not only talking, but offering a fully costed solution. And we're all looking forward to hearing more from you, Rachel. Families, businesses and pensions here in Bury and across the country really need leadership. With Keir Starmer, we are getting real, proper leadership with integrity and respect. The Labour Party is firmly back in the centre of British politics. It's in touch with working people and ready to provide an alternative government that this country can be proud of and deserves.
So, that's the headline, isn't it? Only Labour are offering solutions to the cost of living crisis, and the Tories aren't talking about it. Once again, that's not a new thing. That has been the case when Corbyn was in charge of the Labour Party. That was the case when Ed Miliband was the leader of the Labour Party. For some reason, that wasn't a good enough reason to join the Labour Party then. So the reality is, it's never been a deciding factor for Christian Wakeford that Labour are the ones that are focused on that. Now, I'm going to let slide the whole centrist thing. I don't know why he has listed a bunch of lefty policies and then said this shows Labour is at the centre. Because all that shows me is that the Labour are just in it for the status quo. They say they're going to do these things, but they're probably not going to go very far with them. And the result will be no meaningful change, as what happens when you have a centrist party in power. Now, Labour still has a leftist presence, not for a lack of trying to get rid of it. And that's a big thing for me in this case. When he crossed the threshold, we saw it in the earlier video, he was welcomed with open arms. He was welcomed with an applause. This from a party who has not only done this thing I'm about to say, but has taken pride in it and have used it as a brag. They have purged the left from their party. They have been really happy with the loss of about 90% of their membership, their new membership under Corbyn, which made them the richest party, the most organically rich party. So that's money from memberships, not from donors, in the country and Europe, in fact, if I remember correctly. They're proud that they've gotten rid of that status because they have purged the left. And there was a Labour MP who said very recently, who said they're not welcome in the party because they don't match the sort of the remit of the Labour Party. They don't match the values of the Labour Party. People on the left, so that's your working people, your activists, your people who have pushed for rights in work and life, and quality of life increases. So those values are simultaneously incompatible with Labour. At the same time as someone who's voted against those policies and been against Labour this whole time on the Conservative Party, he apparently is compatible now with Labour, and he has come over on the lip service of those same values and policies that apparently aren't welcome. Labour is in a fucking state. They're going to most likely win the next election, and that is an improvement. That is a good thing. And this is the thing. I know a lot of people are going to watch this and wonder why I'm attacking Labour. I am not a Labour member. I'm not a member of any political party, purely because the party system is bullshit for this very reason. It means fuck all. It's a power grab situation. That's all Christian's doing here. He's going for a power grab. He has left a party he knows will lose, or at least has a good feeling that they'll lose, and has joined one he feels will win. And because his values are not going to change, and the Labour Party's values are going to be ultimately the same as his anyway, as a traditional Conservative most likely, he's going to be fine. And ultimately, even if he wasn't fine, even stuff he disagrees with, he will vote in favour of the guide of Labour, because it's not about what he can do for his constituency, it's not about changing the country or making people's lives better. He is in it for himself. Christian Wakeford, it's very obvious, is in it for self-preservation. He doesn't care what he votes for. He doesn't care if 1 minute he's voting for kicking every EU national out of the country and slashing the welfare state and lowering working conditions and bringing in the fucking patriotism bill or whatever it's called. He can vote for that for 1 minute, and the next minute he'll vote to raise minimum wage. He'll vote to, increase, or what's a proper meaningless but sounds good policy that Labour will probably try to do. Slightly increase holiday entitlement, for example, by an extra day or so, or introduce an extra bank holiday. He'll vote for these things because ultimately he doesn't care about them. He just wants to be the one who votes. He just wants to be the MP. And that's the sad reality of it. So that's what it comes down to. It's a sorry state of affairs and very unfortunate. And I guess the crux of it, and just to demonstrate that I'm not a conspiracy theorist and that I'm not just reading stuff into it, I've got past votes here that I've shown on screen. There's these couple of messages where where Christian Wakeford has openly called his new teammate cunts. I think that's what that means. And even attacked the deputy leader of the party, funnily enough, who is now working under. Weird that he's so against the Labour Party until the need to join them so he can keep his job for a longer period of time. Amazing that. But once again, this is entirely see-through, and we can see through it, and I hope other voters see through it as well. When it comes down to it, when the election comes, it'll be about voting for a marginal improvement to the country, ultimately. Do we want to continue go down the rabbit hole of of Tory cutting life quality for the entire country and making this place a much worse place to live? Probably not. We need any alternative we can get. And Labour, as a return to centrist status quo, will present that increase in quality. It won't be enough. We'll continue to go back to the same complaints we've always had for the last 10 years because it will not improve fast enough or enough anyway. This is why they are happy with purging the left. The left wanted too much of a change, and that made them uncomfortable. They are not going to endanger their donors. They're not going to endanger the billionaires. It'll just be marginal changes just to keep people satiated. That's all we're looking forward to in the coming years. And it's shit, but that's where the left comes in. If you're an actual lefty watching this, this is where you come in. You do whatever you can to get the Tories out and Labour in power, or not even just Labour in power, just the alternative in power. If you're in Scotland, SNP is where you vote, 100%. If you live in a safe Conservative area that Labour have no chance, you vote Lib Dem. You do whatever you can to make sure Tories leave. And then when Labour get in and they start making these marginal changes, you start calling them out for everything they're doing wrong. You start calling them out for not going far enough. You start calling them out for, you say you're going to do this, but yet you haven't done this obvious step to improve that area. Why? The more you do that, the more we increase the agenda of improvement. Because once again, everything Labour puts its hat on is a leftist idea. Without the left, working hours would still be 14 hours a day, and minimum wage would still be 6p, or whatever the fuck it was. That wasn't any minimum wage, really. So, that's my advice for everyone watching this. And keep on top of this situation. Don't accept just a good move that looks like it's rolling a 6 as necessarily that the person behind that is a good person or has your best interest at heart. Christian Wakeford is an opportunist. Think of him exactly that. If you're in Bury, vote for him. Sure. Let him know you think he's a cunt. And let him know that as soon as the left party comes on, you are voting for them. And you want to vote for an actual candidate who with principles, who sticks by them, not a turncoat who will jump on any bandwagon that's going in the lead. For those reasons, Christian Wakeford is Crud of the Week. Well earned. Let the fire fly, as a bunch of lefties who don't get it will probably tell me that I shouldn't be attacking Labour. But once again, I haven't attacked Labour. I've told you exactly what the situation is. I've even encouraged you to vote for them. So eat my dick. Christian Wakeford can go fuck himself though, yeah? Can we all at least agree?